Hello YouTube fans, here again. And I figure why not, as we come into our other marathon, this one being Xtro. That's right, Xtro. As it says in the trailer, not all aliens are friendly, and this one isn't. They might say there there's E.T., and you could say it's sort of like an E.T. nasty, which funny enough, this was a video nasty back in the day. Come out in 1982, and yep, you could say it was a lot of film and sci-fi. So basically it's to do with this boy with his dad. They're playing some sort of game outside, Frisbee or something like that. It's near farmland and a UFO comes out of nowhere and adopts the dad. Well, at first you think the kid's having a bad dream. He's living with his foster dad and his mum. And the mum doesn't believe it. She thinks it's all fairy stories about what the lad said. And they just think that the husband's done a Donald Pump. But it's a very good attempted made film, this, because there's a scene in it where this couple driving a car and they find this weird alien thing and it fires something in the dye, kills the dye, and I'm assuming it kills the woman. Breaks into this woman's house, sucks his finger in her face, and she gets pregnated. Now, if anyone's ever seen or seen a trailer of a dye or a woman giving birth to a Joan man, this will be this film, Xtro. Quite disturbing, but pretty good effects. And I always wonder myself, if you remember the second Warlock film, very similar scene in that. Just as we start chaffing and start do something, it turns out to be the little boy's dad, or some alien form of him. Long below, he goes to see the son, and they think that the husband's coming back, and the sort of arguments here and there on the way. You do get one done if you think you've seen her before. She was one who would later play the Bond girl in the classic Bond movie, The Living Daylights. She's in this, which is quite interesting for her to do an appearance before the Bond film. There's a lot of good gruesome deaths in it. There's one scene where an old woman gets stabbed by a toy soldier. Again, if you've seen her before, think of EastEnders. This one that played Mo in EastEnders. And so on. So, like I say, there's a lot of gruesome deaths in it. One guy gets killed by his imaginary panther, and so on. And like I say, it's an alien form of the little lad's father. Long below, the mother gets ringed, it's an alien form. But I do love the bit, because there's a bit where the father's fading away and it looks like a fucking zombie. And for some reason, this lad's getting sort of like possessed. There's a bit where the dirt from the Living Daylights, I've just got all that. She gets swatted, and the little boy got his face on the stomach. I think it's a bit of a weird scene. It really is a weird scene. They do do some deaths, and I do believe that the one that imitated the alien on the floor was a guy who was walking backwards, and they put this alien thing near his bum. I'm not making this shit up to do that alien thing. But I do love the bit. The mum's walking along in the space taps. She finds these weird eggs, what are going blue, blue, blue. And then his slime blows up, hits her in the face. Assuming she's brown bed. End of fucking movie. End of fucking movie. But it's a weird one, Xtro. It's more science fiction. It's definitely a lot of horror in it. There's a lot of gruesome bits in it. And again, without repeating myself, back in the day, it was a video nasty. Which, funny enough, come out in 1982 when all the videos was more popular in that era. And was the golden era when all the movies were video nasty. So this was a video nasty, which I find funny. You can find it now in its uncut form on YouTube. I'm not making it up. You can find this on fucking YouTube. But there it was Xtro. That a good film. I say, a few well-known British actors is in this, which I find funny. I find funny the fact that this was done in the UK. Had some good practical effects for its time. Some a little bit dated now. Some still, wow. But yeah, it's been good to do some bits. And I do know they made an Xtro 2 in, I think, was in the early 90s. And they also made an Xtro 3. If I remember right, the Xtro 2 was more like an Aliens sort of rip-off. And I think Xtro 3 also was. But a lot of people also remember the original Xtro. As I say, it come out in that golden era of the video nasty era. So like I say, it's a good one. It's not going to be that long, because there's not really a lot to say about this. You've got a few good deaths in it. I say you've got the old woman who we all remember playing in EastEnders. I think appeared in a Doctor Who episode, who played old Mo. quite interesting to see her in an early scene where she gets stabbed. A few death scenes that I think are a bit amateur, like a bit of tomato text up here and there, and a few good ones on the way. But like I say, you ever want to see a woman being given birth to a growing man and a man coming out of a woman, not in the sexual way, I mean a woman giving birth to a man, a fully grown man like me. That's the film Xtro. Like I say, it's very popular. It's very hard to get on DVD, so if you can find it, get it, especially if you can find it in its uncut form. It was done by New World Cinema. It's at that time New World Cinema was just making it in. You know, they put out films, let's say, like The Nightmare on Elm Streets or The Titters, remember them, and so on. So it's interesting to see New Line, that's all then. It's interesting to see New Line Cinema in its heyday making films like this. I do know Fawn also produced this, but it was more known for New Line Cinema, which started big at that time. You know, New Line Cinema was making it with films that say like The Evil Dead, and also break it in with films that say like Xtro. So there, okay, how many points going to differ? Basically, you could say we just had a copy from E.T. because E.T. was big in '82, but this is sort of like another version of E.T. So I don't like it. It's juicy when it wants to be, but I would say average. Average. The acting's a little bit there. There's bits where it's wooden, and there's bits where it's pedible. I didn't think it needed a downbeat ending, but nevertheless, it's still not a bad one. So for that, well, I'll just give it a 2-star. It's average. I can watch it again for some of the blood and gore. The story, I could take it or leave it, but I'd give it an average rating. So that's X1 from 82 into them. Be smart, be safe. See you later for some more stuff on the way.